What is going on, Dub Nation? Welcome back. Yes, I know we've been on a big hiatus with posting, but we are back. We're going to be back to posting as much as possible, really, here. I mean, it's still kind of tough um, just because life's been busy, but I've wanted to talk Warriors. I think, at least news wise, we'll try to continue to get that going. It's tough to do also post games, obviously, because it's 82 games in the season. But yeah, guys, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Would greatly appreciate it. We're trying to hit that 200 sub mark. Appreciate everybody who's staying, with us still. But we've got some big news for the Golden State Warriors. Now, it is not the news that I think people have wanted to hear. And I think we're going to talk about kind of the off season, and then we'll get into the news just because again it's been a long time. But basically, right, the Warriors, all right, you have free agency starting basically at the beginning of July, right? uh then you have Mike Dunleavy obviously speaking to the media before then, and he's like, yeah, we need to get Kuminga figured out, his contract figured out, he's restricted free agent, right? That's a priority for the Golden State Warriors. And hold up, I've been trying to fix this camera. Okay, I think it's a little bit better. Hold up. Okay, I think that's a lot better. So anyways, um yeah, I think that, okay, that they were trying to get that done, right? Priority. Well, obviously, nothing's happened, till this point. We're still waiting on it to happen. And this has caused no free agents to be able to sign with the Golden State Warriors, because the Warriors need to know, okay, if they're going to have Kuminga back, how much are they going to be paying him, for how long? Right. And so then they can kind of make the decisions on, all right, who are they, how much are they giving these guys that they're going to sign? Because they've had multiple players that we've heard about that the Warriors are expected to sign. And we'll get into that because, again, we do have news about that. But I'm just going to go through kind of the whole offseason, right? What up, 49ers Throwback? Appreciate you for being in here. Hit that like button. Greatly appreciate it. But yeah, so it's been a crazy off season, definitely a very depressing off season. No moves by the Golden State Warriors, right? Because of this whole Kaminga thing. And I actually did my research on his agent, on who he represents. So let me pull it up because I know I had it on my phone. Give me just a sec. Let me find it. All right, so Aaron Turner is Jonathan Kuminga's agent, excuse me, and there's not a whole lot in terms of big names or names that I think a lot of people will know that Aaron Turner represents, aside from Jonathan Kuminga. James Banks, Delano Banton, Chris Corkley, Mosai Diabetes, um, let's see, LJ Figueroa, and then like Brandon Goodwin, Keyshawn Johnson, and then Kevin Knox the second, who most people know, and then it's like Jonathan Kuminga. And there's a bunch of other names, but basically none of those guys you really know of, right? Maybe one or two guys other than Jonathan Kuminga. And the fact that Aaron Turner, right, he did that whole media tour, what was it, a week or two ago, going on 95.7 The Game, going on Dubs Talk with Dalton Johnson and Monty Poole. So he was doing that whole tour thing and talking about, wanted to clear things up on what the fans needed to hear. And it's basically the same stuff heard where the Warriors offered Kuminga a two-year contract, also a 3-year contract, but it has a club option, team option. Now Aaron Turner and Jonathan Kuminga wants that player option because he wants the ability to be able to, determine what he does when he has that option. And so then the Warriors want that player option because it's pretty clear that they want to trade him. So they want him at a value where they'd be able to trade him for a good asset. Because otherwise, if he takes the qualifying offer, which is around 7 million, I think it was, it's between $7 and $9 million. That screws the Warriors too, because if the Warriors were trying to trade him during this season, he would be able to basically pick where he goes, so the Warriors cannot determine that. And then also it hasn't worked out for guys who play on the qualifying offer. You do have Cam Thomas of the Brooklyn Nets who ended up taking that route, but historically in the NBA, the qualifying offer has not worked out, has not done well for players. And so the Warriors don't want that too, like I said, because they don't get what they want in terms of, okay, we can decide where to trade him, because that's what it seems like. And that's also another thing. Jonathan Kuminga, what we've heard is he doesn't want to be seen like that, where he's just trying to be a trade piece. Like, and he wants to be able to play on this team, and he understands the Warriors are trying to win championships. And so if he's not going to be here, right, he wants to leave and be able to play on a good team. And the Warriors were exploring sign and trade options, but they didn't like what they were getting from Phoenix and the Kings, which were the primary two teams interested. Early on, people thought, in the NBA, the media, that maybe the Brooklyn Nets, because of the cap space they have. But obviously, that didn't happen. Next year, there's going to be teams with some cap space. So I ultimately think this is going to end in the qualifying offer route, if I had to guess, just because the deadline's October 1st. Which again, that's not the best, things for both sides, but ultimately with the amount of time left and the amount of time this thing has been dragging out, I think honestly the qualifying offer is probably what's going to happen. It's going to be unfortunate, but the Warriors, botched this whole thing clearly, and a lot of it is on Joe Lacob, right? That the Warriors have been in this position, because we know of the two timeline thing, and he's like, I do not want to trade, Jonathan Kuminga for like nothing basically. And so this whole thing has been pretty crazy. Also, I'm going to talk about this because the Warriors did make some changes on the staff. So let me bring up the PR announcement for that. So let me try to share the screen. Actually, my thing's been kind of weird though. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure this out. Okay. You know what? For now, we'll figure this out later. I need to remember to figure this out. But anyways, okay. So the Warriors put out a news release yesterday. It was at around 9:45 a.m. Right. So it says the Warriors announced baseball operations, promotions, and additions. San Francisco, the Golden State Warriors have announced promotions and additions within the team's basketball operations department ahead of the 2025-2026 NBA season. On the coaching staff, Nicholas Kerr, the son of Steve Kerr, has been promoted to assistant coach following 2 seasons as the head coach of the Santa Cruz Warriors. Kerr previously served as an assistant coach in Santa Cruz after 3 years with the Golden State in video and player development. Prior to Golden State, Kerr worked for the San Antonio Spurs as a quality assurance assistant. Additionally, Ben Schetzler has been named head video coordinator following 2 seasons in Santa Cruz. In basketball and player development, David Fatoki has been promoted to vice president basketball development, entering his 10th season with the organization that included the last 4 years at Santa Cruz's general manager. Shannon Stabler has been named senior manager of player development after spending last season as an assistant general manager in Santa Cruz. Everett Dayton has been promoted to player development coach and process analyst following 2 seasons as a video coordinator, while Mark Tolsven has been named video coordinator, player development after spending last season as basketball operations and coaching assistant. associate in Santa Cruz. Additionally, the Warriors have hired Joch Ali Nikolaevich and Christina Terrell in video coordinator player development roles. In analyst and innovation, Pabli Sidhu has been promoted to senior vice president, basketball analyst, and innovation, entering his 9th season with the Warriors. Additionally, Golden State has hired Marshall Payne as director basketball insights following 6 years with the Sacramento Kings. In legal and strategy, John Phillips has been promoted to vice president, basketball strategy, and team counsel, entering his 2nd season with Golden State. Additionally, the Warriors have hired Michael Schneiter, as director basketball strategy, where he joins the organization following 5 seasons with the Detroit Pistons. In the basketball operations department, Ryan Atkinson has been promoted to senior director basketball operations, entering his 13th season with the organization that included 2 seasons as general manager in Santa Cruz in 2019 through 2021. In the scouting department, the Warriors have hired Andy Borman as scout. In team operations, John Murray, Yusuf Wright have been promoted to director team security roles, while Barrett Ortiz Jr. has been promoted to senior director kitchen operations. Lisa Birch was named director teams operations family services during the 2024-2025 season. So not a lot of coaching changes there really. The biggest thing is a lot of guys from Santa Cruz getting promoted, which shout out to them. The Warriors have actually done pretty good in Santa Cruz. Shout out to Nicholas, the son of Steve Kerr, being promoted to assistant coach. I mean, it makes sense. The family connection to his dad, Steve Kerr. But honestly, not much I feel like to say with those promotions. But yeah, that's basically it. So let's get into the news I wanted to talk about, but we needed to kind of talk about where we first started with. So let's get into it. Also, thank you, Throwback, for the shout out on Twitter. And I'm so done with Kuminga. So De'Anthony Melton is back. Yeah, man. Not NBA related, but NFL related. Yeah, man. Prayers to Malik Neighbors. I saw that the way he landed was not good, and they're saying it's a torn ACL. Unfortunately, man, just these injuries in the NFL this year. But hopefully, he has a good recovery. Hopefully, it's not a full tear. But yeah, let's jump into the Warriors. So the Warriors have gotten commitments from free agent center Al Horford and guard De'Anthony Melton. That now brings the Warriors roster from 9 to 11. So thank gosh they can now play the 10 on 10, 5 on 5, excuse me. So first off, let's talk about Al Horford. This was 2 hours ago, roughly, by Shams Charania. It's just breaking. Free agent Al Horford has committed to a multi-year deal with the Golden State Warriors. Agent Jason Glushan tells ESPN. After 7 years, 7 of the past 9 years in Boston, and winning the 2024 title, Horford will enter his 19th NBA season as the Warriors starting center. We knew about this. This was one of the guys the Warriors had been targeting all offseason, and it is finally at least getting the commitment. Now, none of this can be finalized till the whole Kuminga thing still takes place, but at least we do get the commitment, right? I mean, it would have been surprising if this didn't happen because we heard so much about, the Warriors are going to, sign Al Horford and De'Anthony Melton this offseason. So nice to see that commitment. Now, from multiple reports throughout this offseason, it seems like it's going to be a 2-year deal with a player option just because Al Horford's, 37 years old, close to retirement. But I honestly love this because the Warriors have needed a stretch big. They lost Kevon Looney to the New Orleans Pelicans. Al Horford, he has the ability to stretch the floor, shoot the 3 ball. And there's a guy, Quinton Post, on this team that is very similar in terms of can shoot the three. All right. Obviously, he's nowhere close in terms of like being as great of a player, right? But because he's in his second season, but I think Al Horford is going to help him tremendously, uh, help Quinton Post tremendously, and I like this because now the Warriors have a guy that can be kind of similar, a guy that they can continue to mold in Quinton Post. You still have Trace Jackson Davis. I'm not really sure how much playing time he'll get, but I thought he looked, good at times last season. So I hope they get to still play Trace Jackson Davis, and I think that's also going to help with bringing in Al Horford. So I really like this move. Again, it's going to be 1-year deal. Sounds like probably with a player option. At least that's what we've been hearing all off season. That's what it's going to be. I think this is a great signing for the Warriors. They've needed that big. Now you're going to be able to start Steph Curry. Are they going to start De'Anthony Melton, or is it going to be Brandon Pajemski? You've got Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Al Horford. I know ESPN's put, but yeah, anyways, nothing else there for that for sure. But yeah, I think definitely want to go, improve the big size, and I like that because the Warriors have been known for that small ball, lineup for a lot of years now, and it worked, when they won those championships. But with the way the NBA has been changing with the athleticism, the size, this is important, and I like this move by the Golden State Warriors. Great job, Mike Dunleavy. I don't like how late it's been, but it is what it is. Next up, De'Anthony Melton. The Warriors have also gotten a commitment from. Not sure about what the deal could be, because he says while the specifics of his contract are still in process of being found as a result of Jonathan Kuminga's restricted free agency, Melton will be returning to the Warriors for the 2025-2026 season and hold a key role in their backcourt. Kuminga has until Wednesday, October 1st to make a decision on his qualifying offer. So yeah, De'Anthony Melton, right? The Warriors had signed him last offseason with that, after losing Klay Thompson. I believe it the tax player mid-level exception. I believe so. It was around 12, 13 million. So I want to say they had him for a few games. Unfortunately, he tears his ACL. The Warriors are able to trade him and multiple draft second round picks for Dennis Schroeder from the Brooklyn Nets. And then, Dennis Schroeder gets traded, part of that whole Jimmy Butler, trade and all. And so, De'Anthony Melton, the Warriors clearly liked. He was, he looked good in the minimum amount of games he played with the Warriors. And so I'm glad he's back. He's going to be kind of, let's see, he's what, 20. See what his age is. He's like 27. So not super old too. The biggest issue with him has been injuries, and again, he tore his ACL last year, but he's always had these injury concerns here. So that's the biggest thing here. But I like this move. Again, he looked good in the small amount of games. I think the Warriors definitely needed another guard with this team. Now, they are expected to also be signing Seth Curry and Gary Payton II. I mean, it's a lot of guards. That's my only thing, because you still have Buddy Hield as well. So that's my only thing, is just so many guards. And then if, Kuminga, I mean, he's going to come back. But I would have been interested to see like what the Warriors would have done if Kuminga indeed was not going to be back. But yeah, I like this as well. Good defender, good shooter. Health is the only concern I really have here with De'Anthony Melton. But yeah, Seth Curry is expected to, looks like, probably sign with the Warriors too. The brother of Steph Curry. I know I've wanted it for a while to see the brothers play. Seth Curry has said in the past that like yes, he would want to play with Steph Curry, but like I think kind of near Steph Curry's end of his career, and obviously Seth Curry hasn't signed with anyone. Um, there was the golfing event that Steph Curry and I think Seth were at, and then Seth Curry was asked, and he still kind of had that answer of like, kind of want to still be playing on a different team without Steph, not get all that attention as much, or actually wouldn't really be getting as much attention with the Warriors, but it sounds like he is going to be signing with the Warriors. Um, so that I like that too. Just the brothers, it's going to be awesome to see Steph and Seth. Again, we haven't heard any commitments with Seth Curry, excuse me, yet. Um, but we've heard multiple reports about the Warriors are interested in him. They will be signing him. So we'll see when that ends up happening. But I like this. You know, as well. Just family vibes, man. It's gonna be awesome to see. Let's see what's up. Easton, appreciate you. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't. Appreciate you again. He asks, why hasn't Melton signed with the Warriors yet? So we just got news that there's a commitment, according to Brett Siegel of Clutch Sports. Now, the reason for this is the whole Jonathan Kuminga situation, right? He has not signed. He has not taken the qualifying offer quite yet, and he has till October 1st to make that decision. So in the coming days, and the Warriors have media day tomorrow, right? And so it was like something's got to happen, right? So at least they have the commitment. I know we had reports about Melton and Al Horford being already in the base, so it makes a lot of sense that we finally get the confirmation with that. But yeah, it's been because of the Jonathan Kuminga situation, because basically the Warriors need to know how much they're going to be paying Kuminga, how much they have him on the books for, because they're pretty close to the second apron otherwise. And we know that teams do not want to get in the second apron because otherwise there's a lot of restrictions in the second apron. And so basically, once Jonathan Kuminga's on board and they figure out, all right, this is the money, they can figure out, okay, how much are they paying Melton? How much are they going to pay Al Horford? Now, Melton, Seth Curry, and GP2 probably are going to be on the veteran minimum contract, and that depends for how long the player's been in the league for. Now, Al Horford will probably, I believe it's the taxpayer mid-level exception that he will be taking. And so, yeah, that's why we haven't seen Melton like sign and De'Anthony Melton, or sorry, and Al Horford and Seth Curry and GP2 because of this whole situation. So we got to keep an eye out this week, because I'm sure, for no doubt, we're gonna get some resolution this week. Finally, so definitely turn on the notification bell, hit that subscribe button for anybody else that's not subscribed or hasn't turned that notification bell on yet. So greatly appreciate it. But yeah, I'm glad something finally gets announced, even though it's not fully finalized. At least we get that commitment, we get that confirmation. Now Warriors fans can take a breath, at least. But yeah, again, really happy to see Al Horford and De'Anthony Melton have committed to Golden State. So the Warriors now should have 11 players on the roster. So they'll get close to that 15. If I had to guess, they'll probably get to 14 and then figure out, because they'll have some time, a few weeks into the season, to get to 15, I believe. So, they still do have to figure out their rookies that they, drafted, during the draft, in Will Richards. And then who is it? Um, Will Richards, and Alex Tui. Now, I would think Alex Tui probably is going to be playing mostly international, but we'll see um, what happens there. But yeah, Will Richards, I expect them to be signing him. Now, the question with Alex Tui and Will Richards is it going to be two-way deals, or is it going to be kind of that standard one? I could see it being Will Richards more of a standard, and then Alex Tui being a two-way. I'm not really sure. I haven't been able to see the whole like cap situation quite yet. So maybe kind of once, because I think that move will happen probably before we go live again. So I'll try to do the research on okay, how are the Warriors fitting all this? Because there's a great Twitter account, Warriors like CBA or something, that does keeps track of all the financial stuff. So I'll probably have to look at his stuff for that. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about that to see how the Warriors are fitting in all these players contractually, money wise. So yeah, guys, that is going to do it though. Just wanted to hop on here real quick because I know it's been a very long time and something big. I just didn't. I've been busy, and also it's like this whole Kuminga thing makes it's tough to also have to keep talking about him every like single time I go live. We'd be going live, right? What else would be talking about? So yeah, but we'll be here once the stuff gets sorted out and camp and stuff starting soon. But again, thank you for tuning on in. 49ers Throwback and Easton. Hit that like and subscribe button for anybody else watching. If you're watching on Twitch, head on over to the YouTube, and if you're watching on Twitch, also please head on over to the YouTube. And yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, go hit that follow button over on Twitch. Would greatly appreciate it. But thank you guys for tuning on in. Let's go Dubs.